Latest Japan update is that my husband called Japan because they stopped responding altogether. And by Japan, I mean the base that's handling the Japan stuff, like our processing for overseas. They stopped responding about 2 weeks ago to emails because we pointed out that they were mixing us up with another person. Because I'm like, what are you talking about? We never talked on the phone. And then they were asking us to come in person. I'm like, you realize we live in the USA? Like, what are you talking about? And they literally just stopped responding. And then my husband called them and he's like, oh, well, the base hasn't been responding to us. And he's like, what do you mean? And then he named the base and we're like, that is not even in the same state where we are. What case are you looking at? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Here it is. And he pulled it up and he was like, okay, so here's what's going on. We denied it because we assume, based on what we saw on your son's IEP, that he's going to be denied by education. And we're like, okay, he hasn't been submitted to education though, so how do you know? And he's like, well, if you submit it to education, which they were supposed to do, the base here, apparently this is a whole new process, so this whole admin thing is just a nightmare because we are the guinea pigs. Our base here is supposed to submit it to both medical and education. And the medical side, is saying we denied it based on the assumption that the education would be denied. So we're like, fine, whatever. Education needs to get the file so that they can then make a decision, which if they say, oh no, we can accommodate, then he said they can overturn the medical portion because the medical portion is based on assumptions of what educational would say. I look very greasy. I know. I'm doing skin flooding. So right now, my husband, because he's working like nights for the next like day or so, he's like calling them and trying to get that handled. But then he's awake in the mornings so he can take my son to school and actually spend some time with him before school. He's going to then call our current base and he's going to tell them this is what they said because they haven't been responding to our base either. They've been completely ignoring them. So unprofessional, so disorganized. I am a disability analyst. I do this kind of stuff for a living. I have never seen so much mistakes. We've already seen like 4 different mistakes. He's like, first of all, get my son's name right. You're getting his name wrong. Second of all, get our station right. You're not getting our station right. It's just absolutely a nightmare. I've been dealing with the military for like my entire marriage. And then on top of that, I was previously married to military like for like 2 years. And then he got out. Like it wasn't something that we were planning on doing. And I've never had so much disorganization in my life. And I'm not saying like this is something that always happens. I'm saying that this new system switch is probably what's to blame. But tomorrow he's going to call the current office here and he's going to have them figure out how to submit the file to what they call DODEA, DODEA, which is like the education office. And then if they come back and they say no, then we know it's a no, which they seem very organized at the educational office. I will tell you right now, DODEA education, like the education office, they respond. Like you got hours and they respond. Not weeks, not days, hours. They're organized. I don't know this Heather person, but I love her. She is on top of her game. She's like, I would like to be involved in that phone call. If there's a phone call, schedule me in. She's all on top of everything. I love her. I don't know who you are, Heather, but I love you. You're not seeing this, but somewhere out in the world, I love you, Heather. So hopefully by the end of the week, we will have another update, but I wanted to jump on and give you an update right now because I don't really have hope that we're going to get this Otsuki thing because from what I saw online, everything says that Otsuki is a class 2, and based on what I read on the pamphlet, it's an older pamphlet, but what I read on the pamphlet, he might be a class 3. It's somewhere between a 2 and 3. Probably a 3, but again, I'm not an expert. We also have our first appointment tomorrow morning, an intake appointment to essentially pay out of pocket to get him evaluated by psychologists, psychiatrists, specifically for autism and ADHD to kind of differentiate and see what he has because there's so much overlap. And he definitely has ADD though, to see if he also has autism and to also see if there's any outside sources that he needs so that we can make sure our son is getting what he needs. And then on top of that, if we know he needs extra stuff, we can then in turn tell the military this was done, this is what he needs. We can't take these orders after all if they can't provide that stuff there, because we don't want to get there and find out that he needs more stuff and then them send us back and my husband be stuck in Japan, because that is something that happens where people, they take their whole families over there and then they find out that the family needs more stuff, and then they send the family back and not the spouse, like the actual active duty member. We don't want that to happen, so we're not doing that. We are paying out of pocket thousands of dollars to get his evaluation done because the people that we're going to are not aligned. It's like a girl, she graduated in like 2018, but she's been working with people like this for like 10 years, kids. She specializes in kids. So we're like really happy about this. And it's like a little bit closer than Seattle is to us. But unfortunately, TRICARE doesn't have a contract with her, so we have to pay out of pocket. But it's better than having it done in April. It's February. She expedites it by 2 months. They even told us, you know, they know the situation. And she's like, if we have to move somebody, we will get you in February. Because I told her, I was like, we need to have these orders like figured out. Like, even if it tells us we can't go, we have to have this figured out because we have to have stability for our son. We have to give him notice, especially if he has autism. He has to get used to the idea of moving if we have to move, or get used to the idea of staying, because we've already told him that we were moving to Japan, but we have to clear this thing, and he's in a limbo right now. He doesn't know either. He wants to go to Japan. He really wants to go to Japan, but he understands that if we don't go to Japan, he'll be able to stay here with his friends. So he's like, I love Japan, but I also like being here. He's 6. He'll be 7 soon. But yeah, so that's pretty much up in the air. Hopefully I'll have an update. I'm hoping like Friday. If not, it'll probably be sometime early next week. So keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, that's pretty much all that's going on right now. And then I'm also just like doing a lot on TikTok. So that's pretty much it.